2022 started exactly how I planned, and I went on to win 13 out of 16 races. Everything was right on track until it all changed.
On your 95 bike out of Sterrett, Alabama, for Chase, Fly, Mercedes, the Alabama Slammer, Barry Nobles.
'22 started exactly how I planned. Fast forward through the season, I went on to win 13 out of 16 races. And we came into the end of the season exactly where we needed to be in preparation to take that championship. Everything was right on track until it all changed. I'm Barry Nobles, and this is my story.
Barry, jump that double!
Growing up in Alabama is outside of two wheels. I don't really know I don't know how it'd be different from anybody else, really. I started riding at the age of about 3, actually. I remember it pretty vividly, oddly enough. I started on a scooter. I remember I had one of those dirt tire scooters. All the neighborhood kids had bikes. I didn't have a bike yet. I would sit on the deck of the scooter, like when we were all hanging out, kicking air, all the kids are hanging out on their handlebars. I didn't have that. And from that day on, my dad went and got me a little 12-inch bike. My parents knew I had a passion for two wheels. They took me out to the local BMX track, which was 1989 or 1990. Raced a couple times, vivid memories from that. We just happened to come across the Alabama State Championships one year, about an hour north. That local track I started racing at ended up shutting down, unfortunately. I continued to ride BMX up until I was 10 or 11 years old, and from that point on, the rest is history. So now, wanting to be a BMX racer, living in a small town, Wetumpka, Alabama, with literally zero BMX to do around me. The nearest track was an hour away, but I lived on a couple acres of property. My dad let me dig holes in the backyard to build jumps, so after school I'd come home and literally dig a hole every day after school, making little mounds of dirt. I was about 10 years old, so it took a while, and eventually I had my first dirt jump, which actually stepped up from the pile of manure over at the barn that I used to use as my first jump. About 2 years into racing, my parents ended up taking over the local track, so it was just kind of a snowball effect from there. The backyard started growing. More and more I was at the BMX track. And
There you go.
as you would when all you do is ride a bike, is get better and progress over time. So I spent a few years racing, figuring it out, learning the ropes of racing BMX, and I really kind of made a name for myself at 16 when I won my first world championships. It took me a couple years to get into the flow of things in the pro class. In 2008, I won the Florida Pro title, which really gave me that confidence to know I was on the right track. From then, I went on to win the 2010 ABA Pro Cruiser title. From this point, I was really getting myself a little more established, which eventually got me into the 2012 USA Olympic Trials. The USA Trials were the top 8 hopefuls leading into the London 2012 Olympics. Out of this 8, only 1 get to go to the trials. It goes down to the final 4, first place, winner take all. Unfortunately, that winner wasn't me. I made it to the final 4, but after a mistake halfway around the track, my lap ended early. After my first Olympic run, I needed a little bit of a mental break. I've dabbled in the mountain bike world a bit, so I set the BMX bike down for a season and jumped on the mountain bike. 2013, I went on to win a dual slalom national championship, which was my first US national championship. So now I'm trying to balance mountain bike and BMX racing all in the same season. From there, I went on to win multiple Crankworks medals, followed by a silver medal in the BMX national championships the following year. But closer we got to 2016, the more we need to buckle back down on BMX and focus on the next Olympic trials. So I'm on the gate, the final 4 guys, a position I felt like I was just in 4 years prior. With a nearly flawless lap, I ended up second behind Corbin Sherraw, who was the next US pick for the Rio Olympics. Given everything leading up to this point, finishing second behind Corbin Sherraw was an absolute win to me. From this point, I stepped away from BMX, started riding mountain bikes, and kind of pursued a freestyle passion. From 2017 to 2019, I dabbled in a bunch of different stuff. I did some Harley flat track racing, I did my freestyle events. I ended up doing a desert race right outside of Vegas called the Mint 400 on my Harley Davidson. Putting in the work in my backyard, and I was living in California at the time. Fast forward 2 months later, it got me my first invite to X Games for BMX Dirt. Right in the middle of all that, I was planning to move out of California and back to Alabama. So I'm back in Alabama. X Games didn't go quite as planned. I got this new compound to build whatever I want. So the goal was to build and get ready for next year's X Games. COVID happens, the whole world stops, every contest stops. I just continue to build. USA BMX announces a winner-take-all championship, 2020, the year of COVID. So I thought, nothing else going on, let's go race some BMX again. So I did the 2020 Grands, the winner-take-all championship. I ended up 3rd in the Vet Pro class. I completely ended up falling back in love with BMX racing. So leading into 2021, I thought, we're having a good time, let's go race BMX again. It was just for fun. But about 6 months into the season is when the competitiveness actually really started kicking in again. For the first time in my career, the only focus I had was, let's just see how fast we can actually get on BMX. I got my points up, but not quite enough, ended up 2nd overall for 2021. At the beginning of 21, the goal wasn't to be the #1 Vet Pro, but what the goal was to be the Pro of the Year, which I ended up taking home the 2021 Golden Crank Pro of the Year, which was the People's Choice Award. So now we're ready. We got the dream team, we got a year under the belt, the fire is relit in BMX. Now it's time to really make it happen in 2022.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready. Watch the gate. Go!
So this is the point of the year, nearly every year in my career, where I start to have the fall off. I'm burnt out of a long season and I just want off season to get here. But this year's different. We got a title. We need to be smart about it. I know older I get, I'm not progressing and recovering as easy as I did in my 20s, so we got to be smarter about how we go into our training every day. We've had about a month off. We're a few weeks away from Tulsa. Training has been good. There was a Pro-Am going on in Peachtree, so I thought it'd be a good idea to have a little warm-up racing to kind of freshen up before Tulsa, and that's when the accident happened.
3, hey, let it rip, here we go. On the inside of the goal is very noble. You can see 3-4 is the semi out of the left corner.
Right before the main event, we had a little bit of rain, and I should have listened to my gut. I got on the gate anyways, going down the first straightaway, had the whole shot, foot ended up coming unclipped out of my pedal, foot stomping the ground, sending me straight over the handlebars, head first into the next lip, splitting my eye, dislocating my hand, and breaking a joint in my hand. First thing I thought was, I just threw away this entire season. Swelling is setting in nice. Still haven't sorted out this hand yet. But yeah, I'm getting moved to the trauma unit because I have bad bruising in my lungs, but no punctures, so.
Hands up, Les.
My middle and my ring finger are about a 1/4 inch shorter than they should be because they're shoved up into my hand. So the doctor is gonna yank them back out. This should be fun. Oh my gosh.
Okay. I felt
Oh,
it.
yep,
Okay.
So that's better.
Big day today.
Yeah. 11 months down to the next 20 or less than 24 hours just today.
How do you feel?
I feel good considering. So we showed up to Grand's. Haven't touched my bike since the injury. Literally couldn't do it. I was relying on just the pure determination and adrenaline once the race started. I went out there, I started practice, rolled around, took it easy, just really tried to get the feel of the track. The track was luckily one of the simplest tracks they've ever built for the Grands, but out of all years for it to be as simple as it can get, this is my year to have a simple track. So I cut practice super short. I rode bare minimum, ended up skipping the first day of racing, putting all my focus into the night show of the Grands. Luckily I ended up winning my motos, winning my quarter, getting the end of the night show.
Here we go, the slammer. He wants to bring it home. Can you make some noise? He knows he's been out with injury. He is coming back in the big time hurry. Take that title. Oh, that one hurt.
We're literally halfway there. We've done the 4. We can push through 4 more laps. The pain was setting in, but the adrenaline was just rising up, so we're pushing through. And as the night went on, the racing actually got easier. The tunnel vision started happening. It was just kind of on autopilot at that point. I felt the pain, but I just ignored it. Ended up winning my semi, giving me first lane choice into the main event, which was what we all fight for. All year we want to have that first lane choice in the main, and here we are, Grand Nationals, the main event. I have first lane choice with 3 more laps to go. The main event at Grands is 3 mains, not just 1 like normal. We're 5 laps in, 3 laps to go, checking off the boxes.
It's all on the line tonight. Down the front straightaway, the Alabama Slammer. Slammer in control of his own destiny tonight.
Oh yeah, it's all about Barry right now as he's getting things rolling on down that 4 straightaway. Noble's taking that first one back to the line.
Boom, win the first main. 2 more to go. Roll back up, feeling good, feeling confident. Boom, gate drops, whole shot, win another lap.
Where you at, Tulsa? Make some noise. Barry Noble's bringing this one back home. Getting it sealed up, getting it sealed up.
3rd round, the only thing that can stop me from winning this title is myself. And that was probably the most relaxing lap of the whole weekend. It was the last lap, lap number 8, came out of the gate, got the whole shot, cruised my way to the finish line, taking the championship.
Slammer on the 1. Where you at, Alabama Slammer fans?
Back to the line, it's all Barry Nobles!
I kind of got to that point where this whole year was just about proving myself that I could finish a full season. Because like I said, every time I get to this point in the season, I'm so burnt out and just a lack of motivation going into grands. I never finished a season on a high. And I would just think about that moment so much, how long the season was, and how much focus I put into just going fast on my bike. And there was no way I was letting a little bit of pain, as painful as it was, I wasn't gonna let that take away this entire year. And it literally ended better than I could have actually imagined. Like, I think that race would have been more stressful if I didn't have an injury to kind of block out some of that stress of, oh, it all comes down to this one race, when at the end of the day, all I had to do was go out there and ride like I've done all year, just like any other race. Grands is just another race, and I had to treat it as such. So leading into 2023, I accomplished a lot of personal goals the previous year. I knew physically I was right where I needed to be. I maintained everything through the injury. There was no reason I needed to take a step back. So my biggest goal when it came to training is just maintain, stay off the ground, stay fresh, and just keep climbing. Like we said before, I really enjoyed the process of the training, the process of pushing myself, just the process of seeing how far we can take this. So the hand is feeling good. I got most of my strength back. I'm feeling pretty confident to grab the handlebars, get into a good sprint session, and get some power back in these legs.
Put this inside.
Okay. Time at home doesn't mean things slow down. I'm still training, still being a father, still being a husband, still putting out content. And a new goal has been starting a new brand, NineFive Ride Co. I wanted to do a brand that is merch for myself, but I want to do something that's just more than Barry Nobles. A brand that when I'm not racing anymore, we can stay in the sport and have a riding lifestyle type brand. So that's when we branded NineFive as NineFive Ride Co. My wife Kelsey is super involved. We literally wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for her. We are such a true team, her and I. Not that she doesn't have enough on her plate being a full-time mom to our wild child Willow, but she was the perfect one to put in charge of this NineFive brand. I leave so much in her hands with this brand, but when it comes down to packing and dropping them off at the post office, that's my job. So seeing where all these are going around the world is absolutely mind-blowing on how fast this is growing. So after 12 months, my head down, one focus, and then a forced 8 weeks off the bike, it really reminded me how much I've actually missed riding my bike. So it's time to just have some fun and do what we all love the most, just ride bikes. year started off with a bang, had fun on different bikes, got a couple wins under my belt. The main goal for the year, UCI BMX World Championships in Glasgow, Scotland. At this point, it's been 10 years since my last World Championships as an elite in New Zealand, and this has actually been 20 years since my very first World Championship as an amateur in 2003 in Perth, Australia. My mom was with me in Perth 20 years ago, so I made sure I was bringing my mom to Scotland with me. I got my wife Kelsey with me. We know the training's good. We're right where we need to be. It's time to fight for the stripes. I've been doing this for a long time. I try to go into every BMX race as if it's just another race, but at the end of the day, you're gonna put a title on it, right? It's World Championships. You're still getting on a gate of 8. You're still riding your bike like any other race. But we gotta find a way to bring those stress levels down that we just sometimes can't help but create. First moto of any race is a stressful one just because that's where the day kicks off. So I'm trying to treat it as if it's just like any other USA BMX race back home. Gate drops, won that lap. Gate 2, won that lap. Gate 3, we're right on track. We wanna win every lap. Every lap I win is good motivation going into the next lap. I come out of the first turn with a good lead, do the same tap manual I've been doing every other lap, front wheel drops, washes out. So in Europe, they use like a crushed limestone for the wet weather on top of the tracks. In America, we have soil tack, so it's nice and hard. Sliding out is something we never have to worry about. It happened so fast, head went straight into the next roller, all my weight came down to my arm, and that crushed limestone just shredded my elbow.
We'll start the third moto as you guys just saw, and it split out, and check this out. Can we see that one, Doc?
It's got about an hour until we race it again.
Okay.
For a split second, I thought I just threw the day away. Luckily, I remembered we're only in the third round. We're still moving on to the semi. I get off the track, realize I'm bleeding all over the place. I go over to the medic, my arm is completely destroyed. They want to stitch it up. We don't have time to stitch it up. We got a semi coming up. So I talked him into just wrapping me up, and I said, I promise, after the main event, because I know I'm gonna be in the main event, I'll come right back over here to get it stitched up. So they wrapped me up, and literally 5 minutes later, I was heading back up to the gate for my semifinal. Going up to the semi, you guys have heard me talk about it before, we want that lane 1, we want the inside. I get up there, somehow I still had first lane choice, got in gate 1, we're right back into my zone, right where everything needs to be, no hiccups. Boom, gate drops, win my semi. Again, right where we need to be going to the final, first lane choice. So going into the semi after the elbow, I had a lot of mental distractions. I just had to get back up there, focus, everything went to plan. So now, the new stresses are in the finals. You've had this day that started great, had a hiccup, but we're in the final, we're in gate 1. We just gotta breathe. And just let it happen like any other race. Loaded the gate, the entire crowd went quiet, gate drops, got to the first jump, didn't see anyone around me, and it was like I had the track to myself, and it was probably the easiest, most relaxing lap of the day.
Barry Nobles is your world champion.
That race was such a race, like, I just knew I was gonna win. I don't know why, I just knew. I've never been so confident like I'm gonna win this race. There was no other option, you know? So once it was over, like I've talked about it before, I like the process. I like the process leading into a race. The end outcome is always kind of a depressing moment because it's like, it's over now. It's like the journey stops there. So it's such a fun lead up to it, and then you get it, and as great as it is, for a split second, it's just, oh well, it's over now, you know? But with all that being said, when I got on the podium, it was the first podium where I've heard my national anthem. And when I was on the podium, they put the jersey on me, but when the national anthem played, that's when it all hit home. That's when I actually got a lump in my throat and started to get a little emotional then, because it just, that's when it all really sunk in. When you hear, when you're on the podium and you hear your national anthem, it gets real. And you realize, like, this is what we worked for. So 2022, I had the goal to be consistent, make it through a full year, win races. Win races will give me a title. Check that box. This year, new title, win world champs. Boom, check that box. Now I was in a weird limbo where not that I didn't want to ride, but I didn't want to have this focus that I had. I just kind of wanted to take a break and just ride my bike and have fun. I skipped a couple races at the end of the year and focused on getting my yard back together because I wanted to have a Halloween jam, which was right around the corner. So I grew up doing this. This is how BMX began for me. Literally a manure pile next to my mom's barn growing up with horses. Fast forward to all these years later, 36 years old, I'm still out back digging holes, but now I got my own skid steer and can do a big machinery. We are home base right now. My annual Halloween jam. This is like the one time a year that I have a chance to let all the locals and everybody come ride my spot. Everybody sees my yard on social media, so each year the hype gets a little bigger. And in this case, I think I bit off a little more than I can chew. And there's probably gonna be more people here than expected, which is cool. A handful of people I've never even met before, but yeah, we're gonna have a good time. Just kind of kick back, ride some dirt jumps, and have a good time with everybody.
This is Bart's house, baby.
So this year's Halloween, this is my Bart Wayne alter ego. I'm not 100% in costume right now. Normally I'm missing a tooth and the accent's deep, but. So now this year I wanted a small line for people to kind of warm up or learn on that flows into the main line. So if you can get through the small line, I'll let you go for the main line. So with that being said, I invited a lot more people than I've ever invited. I actually had a handful of people I'd never even met before out here, so it was pretty awesome to see some skill sets expand a bit. There you go! Good job, dude. So I had my 2 months at home, a good mental reset, which was well needed at this point. But now, getting a little antsy to get back on the road, get back in competition mode. Tulsa was next on the list. Time to focus, get back to work, and focus on a championship. Tulsa, Oklahoma, the greatest race on earth. We're healthy. We've checked a lot of boxes this year. Motivation is high. It was a perfect weekend, undefeated. Last year, I actually skipped the day one of racing, which is the ROC, the Rock they call it. Well, this year I'm feeling healthy. Sponsors don't want me to sit out, so I had to race the Rock, which was 6 laps. That's 6 extra laps of energy that I'm not gonna have for the next day. Won my 3 motos, won my quarter, won my semi. So at this point, recovery is key. I need to be as fresh as I can be on Grand's Day. The goal is to repeat how the day before and every other race this year is gone. Let's get through motos, let's get through quarters, let's win every lap, let's keep the motivation high. I won my quarter, that gets us into the night show. Main 1, gate drops. Autopilot, don't see anyone, win it. Gate 2, on repeat. Gate 3, final number 3, I'm in gate 1, easiest lap of the day. No stress, the mental game is completely relaxed, and that's when I think I laid down my best lap of the weekend. Cross the finish line, first person I see, my wife Kelsey. The perfect ending to a fairy tale season. To top it all off, I was just presented with my 2nd Golden Crank Award, which is the Pro of the Year, which is voted by you guys. The overall championship title is great. I absolutely love it. It's such an honor. But to get the Golden Crank Award, in my book, that's just over that championship for me. I'm the rider I am because of the kid I was and the pros I looked up to and the influence that those pros gave to me, which all I want to do is give that influence back to you guys, and you guys gave me that award. So the appreciation is undescribable for that one. To be leaving Grands with a set of golden cranks, a title cup, a world championship from 5 months ago. This year is gonna be hard to beat. But those shelves could use a fourth. Back to work.
In control of his own destiny tonight.